Happy Dragon Quest Day, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to be celebrating this year with something extra special. That's right, the amazing folks at Square Enix invited me out to a super exclusive hands on preview event where I got to play Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD-2D Remake. And let me tell you, my expectations were already super high, especially after loving Dragon Quest 3 Remake, but I was still completely blown away from what I played. You all know how much I adore the HD 2D art style. It's honestly one of my favorite art styles in all of video games. You pair that with Dragon Quest, one of my favorite series of all time, you basically have my dream come true here. But before we jump into the preview and I take you all through my whole experience and how much I loved playing these games, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to Square Enix for this incredible opportunity and to you, the amazing community that made all this possible. Building this channel has been a long journey, and getting the chance to attend events like this, meet some truly awesome people, play some amazing games early, and share those experiences with you has made this all super worth it. So thank you so much to everyone that has commented on my videos, stopped by and watched and engaged with my content. I really appreciate you. And with all that said and out of the way, let's not waste any more time and I'll take you through the whole preview experience. Let's get into it. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake might genuinely be one of my most anticipated games. I love Dragon Quest. It's one of the games that really solidified my connection to JRPGs. So when Square Enix reached out and invited me to a hands-on preview event in New York, yeah, needless to say, I was thrilled. I got to sit down with both games, play through a good chunk of each one, and I walked away even more excited than I was going in. These games feel really special. As someone who is a big fan of the Dragon Quest 3 remake, I had high expectations going in, and I'm happy to report that Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake absolutely hold up. They're launching on October 30th of this year, and if you're even remotely a fan of the series, then these are definitely worth keeping your eye on. Now, when it comes to the originals, I'll be honest, I've only dabbled in them a bit. I've played 2 more than 1, and I played 1 like a little bit here and there, but I never fully saw either of them all the way through. So the idea of finally experiencing these foundational JRPGs with modern presentation, clearer systems, and higher production values, that's a really big deal. It's not just about nostalgia with me here. It's a genuine opportunity to re-engage with some of the most important RPGs ever created. I spent about an hour total playing both games, and from the very first moment when the music kicked in, I felt it. That sense of being drawn in. For me, Dragon Quest games are huge time sinks in the best way possible. I get totally lost in them, and this remake hit that same feeling instantly. I started with Dragon Quest 1, and it was exactly what I hoped it would be. That familiar HD 2D art style is back, and it might be the best it's ever looked. Right away, I noticed subtle improvements, lighting especially, the way shadows fall across the ground, the glow of torches in darker areas. It all adds texture that just wasn't possible before. The overworld feels vibrant, the towns feel alive, and the color palette has this soft storybook tone that just really works. I spent a little time exploring the starting area, poking around town, talking to NPCs, all the things I tend to like to do early on in Dragon Quest games, and it all felt really natural. It's still the same core design, but it's wrapped in a presentation that feels so much more inviting. One of the big areas I visited in Dragon Quest 1 was a cave dungeon. In the original game, caves were like pitch black without a torch, and in this new game, the shadows move with your light source, and it genuinely feels claustrophobic at times. You're navigating these tight corridors by torchlight, and the whole thing has this like eerie atmospheric tone to it that makes the exploration feel super immersive. Combat, meanwhile, is exactly what you'd expect. Classic menu-driven turn-based battles, similar to what you'd see in the Dragon Quest 3 remake. In Dragon Quest 1, though, you're solo the entire time, and that lone wolf setup still holds true from what I experienced in this demo. There's something really unique about that. It adds a kind of tension to each fight. You don't have a party to lean on, so you're managing your resources a little more carefully. It reminded me of how survival-focused early RPGs could be, and I honestly really liked that change of pace. And I'll just say it, I wasn't ready for this demo to end. I got into a rhythm in Dragon Quest 1 and I wanted to keep playing. The flow is great, and the game clearly has more surprises waiting beyond that first hour. Also worth noting, I saw a few new cutscenes that weren't in the originals, little narrative moments that help set the tone and context of the game. They weren't overly long, but they were very effective, and they show how Square Enix is elevating this entire experience without completely overdoing it. After finishing the Dragon Quest 1 demo, I jumped over to Dragon Quest 2. And this is where things started to scale up. You're now building a party, covering more ground, and there's more narrative to dig into. One of the standout moments of my preview of the game was visiting Moonbrook, and this might have been my favorite part of the whole entire demo. Seeing Moonbrook rendered in HD-2D was genuinely powerful. The castle's been destroyed, and there's this quiet, desolate atmosphere to the whole scene. The ruin is there, the people are hurting, and as a player, you really feel that here. Combat in Dragon Quest II is a step up as well. With a full party, things get a bit more tactical. If you play Dragon Quest III, this will feel a lot more familiar than the solo setup in Dragon Quest I. The transition from 1 to 2 is noticeable, and this remake makes that shift in scope feel very smooth. The world itself is also larger. The moment you step out into the overworld and start exploring, it starts to feel more like a full-on adventure. I spent some time just walking around, seeing what I could find. That sense of curiosity that fuels a good Dragon Quest playthrough is definitely here. Now, I didn't get to see everything, of course. This was just a preview, but what I did see gave me a lot of confidence, not just in the quality of the remakes, but in how they're going to work together as a full trilogy. And that's really the thing that stood out to me here. This isn't just about revisiting Dragon Quest 1 and 2, it's about building up to something bigger. Once this trilogy is complete, you'll be able to play through the entire saga with a consistent visual style, a unified presentation, and really smart ways of modernizing the games. That's huge, not just for longtime fans, but for newcomers that haven't really experienced all the games in full, like myself, who are finally getting this full experience in the best way possible. Square Enix clearly knows they have something special here, but what really makes me happy is that we know it too. These aren't just normal retro remakes, they're carefully crafted, thoughtfully presented, and genuinely exciting. I had really high expectations, and this preview exceeded them in every way. Anyway, that's it for me in this one. Before I wrap up, though, one last note: the game will be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and I'll be honest with you, that's where I plan on playing it. Handheld Dragon Quest is my favorite way to play. With all that said, I want to extend a huge thank you to Square Enix for inviting me out to preview this game and giving me the opportunity to play one of my most anticipated games this year. If you have any questions about my time with them, then feel free to reach out in the comments below. I look forward to reading your thoughts, answering any questions you might have about the preview, and until next time, I'm out.